Hello there and welcome. Of course, you're right in time for our Monday discussion. Of course, when it's Monday, you know it is Healthy Monday, and that's exactly what we will be looking at. And today we look at the concept of health being free. We'll just be looking at what you can do as an individual or things that you can do to boost your health. We will be focusing on walking barefoot, of course, sleeping, drinking water, and how exactly you're supposed to breathe for you to improve your health. And of course, joining me is Dr. Hamisi Ali Kote, who is a fascia manipulation teacher. Daktari, karibu sana.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, viewers. My name is Dr. Hamisi Kote Ali. I am a fascia manipulation teacher. Now, maybe somebody would ask what fascia is and what manipulation means.
Exactly.
Fascia is a connective tissue. It's a tissue that wraps around our body and provides the body with a three-dimensional tension network. So this tissue, we find it in meat. When you are eating meat, there's something like a nylon. You know, there's something like a nylon whenever we're trying to eat meat, or even when you're trying to cut meat. And when you look at it closely, it looks like the gradients of a tree sometimes, or even if you cut an orange, you can see the various compartments of an orange. It's the same. That separation is what is in a human being, and in a human being is called fascia. And today I have I have a fascia suit here to be able just to demonstrate that. So this, we'll talk about it later, is the fascia suit. So fascia manipulation is understanding how the fascia is laid out in the body in a 3D dimension, and understanding that how you can manipulate the fascia to restore, to repair, to service, and to restore health.
All right, and as we talk of course, you've explained what fascia manipulation is. When we are talking about health being free, what exactly are we trying, or what message are we trying to pass across?
I come from a different practice. I come from a practice of wellness, slightly different from a modern hospital. And my practice is based on the old school way of thinking, old school method of treatment. So let me first of all say that I operate a clinic that is called the Human Garage. And the reason why we called our clinic the Human Garage is we realize that the human body has a potential, has a power to heal itself. And because the human body has this power to heal itself, then we realize that most of the time we cannot be able to heal the body. What you're able to do is to be able to stimulate the body for the body to heal itself. That's why we have a garage whereby we service for those people who may not be presenting with any symptoms. We repair those people who, let's say, one day you wake up, you have a back pain, you sprained your ankle, sprained your foot, shoulder pain, headache, migraine, etc. And then we do a restoration for people who have a multitude of problems. They have arthritis, they have diabetes, they have hypertension. We help to restore the functionality of their body so that we're able to help them with health. We say this because, excuse me, we say this because if we look at how health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and emotional well-being, but does not merely mean the absence of disease or pain. This is very important for us to know. Why? Because when you look at the same concept, we realize that about 57% of the people who get heart attack, their first symptom is death. You know, so signs and symptoms should not be a very good diagnostic tool. And further on, when you look at how many other scholars are defining health, you're saying health is how your body functions on a daily basis. You know, every single day, health is how your body is able to function. Therefore, from where I come from, we look at how we can optimize health, first of all, by using what is given to us by nature. A human being is an interesting animal because the human being tends to imagine themselves being separate from nature. And for that reason, I decided to come with a small chart here to be able to try to conceptualize, to understand how our body and ourselves connect to nature. So with this here, for me, I have a chart that talks about feeling versus function. And this chart represents what we call the central nervous system. Now, the central nervous system is nothing very serious. It's just the brain and the spinal cord.
Okay.
And the brain and the spinal cord acts as the control center for how our body functions. Therefore, if we are to look now at the details of the brain and spinal cord, we realize that the brain and spinal cord is divided into three main parts. One, we have what we call the motor nerves. Motor nerves, motor just means nerves that help our muscles to move. For example, for me to extend my hand, to bend my hand, to wave at someone. Those are motor nerves. And then we have what we call autonomic nerves. Autonomic nerves is, again, nothing very complicated. It's just that system that controls how you breathe, how your heart functions, how your blood circulation works, and you don't have to do any effort to control it. It's an automatic system. And then we have another system, which is why we are here today, and it's called the sensory system. The sensory system is that system that helps us to connect with Mother Nature, to connect with the external environment. Because within a human being, we have what we call the innate intelligence. The innate intelligence, in few words, would be like a human being is a small universe. I remember one of my professors telling us that as we sit here, we are all sharing bags across each other. I'm sharing some bags with you, and you're sharing some bags with me, and he is sharing some bags with both of us, and even with the cameraman.
Yeah.
So having understood that this is a small planet in itself, then we need to understand how does this planet then operate in the bigger universe. And then in the bigger universe is what we're calling the universal intelligence. So the universal intelligence and the innate intelligence have to work in sync. They have to work in sync for how our body functions. Why? The earth has what is called an impulse, like a heartbeat. And the same heartbeat syncs to our heartbeat in a living human being. So back to our central nervous system. When we look at our central nervous system, way before we get sick, or rather we think we are sick, we start with development of things like muscle weakness. You feel you're not strong enough to do some task. Sometimes you get muscle cramps. A lot of viewers will tell you they keep on getting muscle cramps and they don't know why they're getting muscle cramps. Others will have fatigue. You do a very little work and then you feel your muscles are really, really tired. And then the next thing that we get is muscle tightness. You feel like somebody has wrapped something around your body, or something is holding you, something is tight. And that tightness, this can happen for a very long time before you experience pain. Then you have the things that now affect the autonomic. Then the things that affect the autonomic are things like allergies. You have recurrent sneezing, getting recurrent flus, infections often. Then we have also what we call low energy. Low energy is that you wake up in the morning and it's a Monday morning and you're like, I am exhausted, So low energy in the morning, low energy during the day. Then digestive problems. Digestive problems, we take them for granted, but digestive problems are very important. Things like acidity, things like gas, things like constipation. They may not be painful, but they play a key role in how our body functions. And then the other thing that we find on the autonomic is breathing problems. A lot of people will have a problem of shortness of breath, and sometimes a lot of people have been diagnosed with asthma in old age, in maturity, and again, these are not painful. But as we stay with them for a long time, then they'll start affecting the sensory part. Why? Because these two have no sensory nerves, so we don't feel pain. We just feel a sensation, I feel a sense of bloating, I feel a sense of constipation, but it's not painful. I feel a sense of muscle tightness. But as this goes on for a long time, then what happens is that your sensory nerves, which now is the skin and the fascial tissue on the inside, will start having a problem with how we control temperature, what is called thermoregulation. And when you're not able to control temperature very well, then we will be the first people to notice every time there's a change of weather. Every time there's a slight change of weather, we are able to know, be it hot, be it cold, be it wind, anything. And then the next thing is that we start changing our posture, how we stand. Sometimes we stoop forward, sometimes we limp, sometimes we walk with an academic angle. And then for no reason, one day, for no reason, you start developing a pain. Either you bend to pick something or something, and then boom, that pain starts. Now, for us today is to understand how then can we work with the sensory part and use what we have been given by universal intelligence to help optimize our health and break loose out of most of these complaints. Yes.
Right, and thank you so much for that explanation. As you put it, of course, we will be focusing on the sensory nerve, just to understand how we can use, let me say, nature to improve our health. And of course, for that, I want to believe we are looking at the prevention bit of it. So, first of all, you're barefoot. And when I look at your team, they are also barefoot. So let us just start with the importance of this, and why exactly do you recommend people like walk barefoot?
Thank you. This started some time back. It's been many years. Around 2012 is when this started, and I was in the United States at the time, and I was studying to become a doctor of chiropractic. And there was a big hype about Kenyan runners and the fact that Kenyan runners ran barefoot. If you can look at our recent champion, Faith Kibigion, when she started running, most of her initial career, her marathons, she did barefoot. So at the time there was a lot of hype about barefoot walking and barefoot running. And having not worn shoes to school, and having now had a privilege to wear shoes, I could not understand why like it's a big deal to not wear shoes, you know what I mean? Like we want to wear shoes, and you guys are telling us the importance of walking barefoot or running barefoot. And it was such a, it was a big contradiction. It's the same way we taught about organic foods and GMO. You know, we all grew up eating organic foods, but today we are being told, oh,
GMO is good.
GMO is good, you know. So anyway, I started getting an interest, and I bought some shoes that called the 5 Fingers. And when I wore those shoes, I realized that I had better connection. There was a difference between when I wore shoes and when I did not. When I wore these 5 Fingers, and I researched a little bit, and then I forgot about it. You know, like the way you'd put it at the back of your mind. And then I ended up traveling to Vietnam, and when I was in Vietnam, again spent time with some monks, and I realized most of them spend their time barefoot. And that's when somebody told me that, you know, tried to start explaining to me that the foot is a very complex architectural masterpiece. It's you can imagine, we have 28 bones in the foot. We have 33 joints in that foot, many muscles, many ligaments, and so 28 to 28, and both of them are supposed to be able then to come and have a have a basin or a pelvic like that will support our entire weight. And realize that now, again, from the spinal cord here, from the spinal cord here to here, you have another 33 bones, and I mean not 33 bones, but 33 joints. And this is important because it was curious for me, because I wondered, why would we have similar number of joints in the spine and in the foot? And then I ended up realizing that whenever we walk in what we call 3 planes of motion. So we are able to bend forward, and we are able to come backward. That is one plane of motion. We are able to bend sideways, and we are able to bend sideways. That is another plane of motion. And we are able to turn in, and we are able to turn out. Now, even when we walk, we do the same thing. So when we walk, we may start with a heel strike, and when you have a heel strike and we are putting our foot down, all our spinal weight, all the joints of the spine will move in that what you call sagittal direction or frontal direction. Then when you put our foot down and we weigh on it, before we lift this other one, we have to lean a little bit to the side to be able to lift so that we can heel strike on this other leg. And when we do that, for us now to load this other leg, we have to rotate on this one, and then we have to rotate again to step. So it moves the same as we move the spine. And then now they were like, okay, then how is it connected? How is that connected? And it's connected through what we are talking about as the fascia tissue. When most of us have studied anatomy, we studied the skeleton, which is the bones, and then the muscles that were attached from one place to another But what we never paid attention to is what we are calling the fascia tissue, the connective tissue, which is a suit that has covered the entire of our body. Now, this suit. If you bend forward, there's like a sequence. There's a way that if you may, there's a point that muscle tension, vectors will meet and become what you call a center of coordination. This center of coordination controls a segment that is able maybe to bend forward. When it's able to bend forward, then there's another center of coordination, another center of coordination, and then these centers of coordination can be aligned together to form a sequence. And that sequence now can start from the foot here, all the way up to the head, and all the way up to the big toe. That will give us this movement. Okay, so when that movement happens on the foot, not only will my foot be able to bend forward, but I'll also be able to bend the entire spine forward. At the same time, at the back, turn a bit. At the back, we'll have another sequence that will start again from the top of the eye here, and it will come down to the side of the toe here, and this sequence will give us this movement and the extensional movement. So whenever we do that again, we'll be able to move the entire vertebra into that extension. I'm taking this time to indicate so that you can see how the foot works. After that, we have another sequence that now will run like this on the side of the body, to run on the side of the body to come to this toe, and then it will run again to the side of the body to that toe. And this one helps the body to move sideways and sideways. Okay, and don't forget, because there has to be both left and right, and then they have the two sequences will be divided in the center. And then there will be another sequence which will start at the angle of the eye, but this will come down the ear, come down, and it's like it's winding. It's winding around the body, and that sequence will help us to turn inside and to turn outside. Again, moving the spine into that rotation. That's why you see the spine is many joints. There are many joints that are separated. And that will also have an opposite sequence that will do the opposite movement, which is external rotation. Now, once we have understood that, and we have understood this is what has connected it, then now we know that our spine, as we move, it's supposed to be able our foot, as we move, it's supposed to step on these uneven surfaces, and whenever we step in these uneven surfaces, our foot, like our hand would do, it kind of tries to almost grab the ground, it almost tries to grab the ground into the shape, so your body is able to, like a shock absorber, to move the way you need to move freely. No wonder why, when God created us, made this part of the body to be thicker, stiffer than the top part of the foot. The same with the hand. Why? Because I would imagine God wanted us to not be sliding. If we had this to be the side of the foot and we are walking, then we would be walking like walking slippers with water. Like you have slippers with water, it's gliding inside. But because this was meant to grip, it allows us not to be able to glide. That was one purpose of the foot. Number two, most of the sensory nerves of the entire body are mapped in the palms and in the feet. So whenever we are walking, whenever we are moving, we need to realize that the palms of the hand, the palms of the feet, the ears, the nose and the eyes are our antennas. They are our aerial system that collects information from the environment into our central nervous system to tell the body where the body is. One, in space. The eyes helps us to understand distance and depth. The ears helps us to understand where we are in our balance in space. Our nose will help us to smell. Our taste will help us to decide bitter and sweet. Our feet, when they are grabbing in this soil, we'll be able to know what is pricking, what is not pricking, what is wet, what is not wet, and give that information to the body so that the body has a proper reacting time. Now, after 1960, we developed the synthetic sole, which is a plastic sole like the one you have in your feet, or most of one that have in our shoes. This plastic sole, whenever we wear it, it kind of protects us. It stops us from having a natural grounding system with the environment. Why? Somebody would say, well, but even before people used to have shoes. I agree. People used to have shoes before, but the shoes were made of leather and they were made of bark of trees. And these shoes did not have any interference with how the body grounded with the Mother Nature. Okay. Now, so we have seen how now the foot is supposed to move. Now, you can imagine with modernization now, we spend hours seated, we spend hours standing, we spend hours with shoes the whole day, and again seated. So what happens to the foot is that the foot does no longer have that ability to move freely. The joints of the foot, which are individual small joints in the foot, are not able to move freely. So what happens then is that we start blocking the foot. And a lot of us will have either toes that are like this, climbing each other, big bunions, these small toes with a lot of, let's say, corns. Others will have very hard, stiff feet. And these, whenever you have this kind of stiffness in your foot, you can take it to the bank that you'll have pain in your lower back, pain in your knees, pain in your ankles, pain in your neck, pain in your shoulder, pain in your eyes, headache, numbness. They may not all happen at the same time, but these are things you keep complaining. You'll also have problems with constipation. You'll not be able to go to the loo as you should. Why? Because again, we devised more comfortable ways against nature. Nature, all of us, we were supposed to go here. That's how we were made to go to the toilet, right? But today we have been made so comfortable, we have to sit on a comfortable chair that does not take your body down to be able to allow for natural drop. So a lot of us are walking constipated on something that is very simple to solve. Elevate your feet slightly so that there's an angle, your feet are in an angle, and your and your spine is able to be in this position to be able to defecate and eliminate everything in the trunk. Again, you cannot do that very often if your feet are stiff. That's why most of us cannot able to squat. So with that stiff foot, so we have seen we are able to get degenerative discs in the back, degenerative discs in the neck, and we are also able to get migraines and headaches. But that is just on the biomechanical part. We also need to understand that grounding does not only help the biomechanics of the body. Grounding helps the body at the cellular level. And what does that mean? Whenever the human body, it's an electrical gel. And this electrical gel, the earth, which is Mother Nature, is another gel field, which is negative. We are positive and it's negative. Now, whenever we step on the ground, it's like the way you plug your phone into a socket, and you want to charge that phone. So you charge that phone maybe overnight, isn't it? And whenever it's charged fully overnight, what does it turn? It turns into green. The same way, when your body is grounded, it turns green. When your body is not grounded, it's red, like this. What is red? Inflammation. You're getting a lot of inflammation. That's why majority of the people who wear shoes all the time are always like electrical current. I mean, they're always electric. They cannot touch metal surfaces. Whenever they touch metal surfaces, they get static electricity. If they wear something plastic like this or nylon and they're removing it, you see stars of fire. You've seen that, like removing ice, it starts on fire, and then your immune system keeps on going down. Why? It's low. You keep on getting this simple, easy to treat recurrent flus, allergies that don't go away. But long term, those allergies will have a problem with how your immunity functions. So when you ground and your body is charged, what happens is that you help the body to drain the excess negative positive ions in the body, and when you recharge the body, you help it to function better at cellular level. That's why when you leave here today and you get home, what is the first thing you're gonna do?
Remove shoes.
You remove shoes, right? And what is it that you feel when you remove shoes?
Relief.
You feel relief. So if shoes were very good, then the body will not be seeking relief when you remove them. Yeah? So you remove shoes, you feel a lot of relief. It has been shown that just putting your foot down on the ground like this, you improve the amount of oxygen that you take, how you breathe. Just putting your foot down for a few minutes, for a second, or even holding a tree or a plant, you're able to oxygenate your body very, very fast and help it to calm down. It is shown that if you ground your body long term, you're able not only to improve how the amount of air that you breathe, you're also able to improve how your heart rate. It will help stabilize and reduce your heart rate. Not only that, you are able, if you ground long enough, to help change your glucose levels in the body. Why? Because when you walk with barefoot and all this, you help the body stimulate proper biomechanics, proper metabolism, which helps your body then improve your cardiovascular function. Again, if you also do barefoot, what you also realize is that you improve your sleep. You're able to sleep longer today. Since the invention of the phone, and actually most people of us in the city, we are sleeping less than 5 hours, and that is just an epidemic of disaster waiting to happen across the globe. All of us are in a big disaster. Why? Because the more we don't sleep, the more our body cannot repair. It is said that sleep is it's like what? Is like an anti-cancer. We say there are cells that are called natural killer cells in the body, and these natural killer cells in the body, whenever these natural killer cells in the body we sleep, we make them stronger and bigger, and they migrate in the whole body, helping what? Remove inflammation. And how do you remove that inflammation? We ground. We walk barefoot. But I know it's not practical for everyone to walk barefoot everywhere. But this is my advice. Everybody should be able to ground 20 minutes a day and every day. Okay. And how do you do it? There are some people who cannot even put their feet down. They are so sensitive. You don't have to start by walking barefoot. If you have a small garden, or even if you don't have a garden, if you're able just to have a place, everybody can have a piece of earth. Just be able to put your foot down and sit, or even hold trees, work with your hands with plants. Hey, get your body to be grounded. But the best way is you put your feet in the morning, whenever there's a morning dew, on the ground for about 20 minutes, or you walk on the dew for about 20 minutes. And you do it every day. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. You do it every day, and you will notice the crazy change that will happen to your body in terms of the pain you have, if you have any pain, in terms of functionality, in terms of mind concentration, in terms of sleep, and in terms of being able to handle tough situations in your daily routine.
All right. Let me just cut you short on that. You've mentioned, of course, how walking barefoot will improve our breathing. Of course, it will be like a pain reliever. What grounds are we talking about? Are we walking barefoot on any surface? And with walking barefoot, what are some of the conditions that you can mention? Of course, the medical conditions that you can mention that walking barefoot probably improves or prevents.
Okay. For starters, we have to be careful about the environment and the harmful things that can hurt our feet. So for starters, and this I said, we need to start it on the grass. It needs to start on the grass, preferably in the morning when it's wet. Okay. That's the best place to start. as you get stronger, as your feet get stronger, and as your bottom of the feet gets hardened, then you can try to adventure more, maybe in a park. You can adventure more, maybe on a hike. You know, it depends on how proper you strengthen your feet. Don't remove your shoes today and walk to town. You will not like it. It will be a crazy experience. Number one. Number two, when you start doing this barefoot thing, don't overdo it. We say stretch and keep it between stretch and relaxation. We don't overdo things. You have to do things, everything slowly, and then you build the endurance over time. Now, I'll give you the easiest thing that has been, some of the easiest conditions that you can easily help with this is menstrual pain. Okay. Menstrual pain can easily be helped, reduced by walking barefoot. The other one is back pain. Back pain, most of the back pain, if you walk barefoot, most of those people, especially people who sit in the office for a long time, if you walk barefoot, you realize you improve your back. Why? Because you create a lot of mobility in your lower back. I can also talk maybe about even heel pain, plantar fasciitis, and some of the knee pains. These are migraines. These are conditions that I've seen with my patients improve drastically when they just started walking barefoot. Yeah. All
right. Thank you for that. Of course, we were looking at walking barefoot. We're also looking at breathing.
Breathing. And
also, we go to breathing right now.
Yes, you can go through breathing.
Okay. All right.
Now, walking barefoot and breathing are not very different. They are almost interrelated. Because both of them helps us to connect with the national, with the Mother Nature. So the feet is what connects us with the ground, but the breath is what connects us with the air. You know, this connects us with the hard surface. This connects us with air. And what is crazy is that breathing, I think, is the most important part of wellness. Why? It's the first thing we do when we come into this world. And you can see whenever a baby is being born and the baby has not cried, the nurses go crazy. They want the baby to cry now, you know, because if it is just a delicate time, if the baby does not cry, you risk having brain injury and brain damage. So, breathing here, when we come to the world, when you breathe, we end up establishing two systems, if you may, what is called sympathetic and parasympathetic, fight or flight. Now, sympathetic or parasympathetic, so when you come in, the first thing is you scream and yell with a big bang, and you fill up your lungs with air. That is the flight, is the fighting mode. It's the fighting mode. And then once you've filled your lungs with air, then you have to breathe out more calm, more kind of to relax. So we always have this positive fight and this negative relaxation. So the two have to always balance, and that's what we're trying to do here. So breathing, it's a unique gift that God gave us, in the sense that breathing is in two parts. One, we have what we are doing, me and you right now, and all of us here. It's breathing without thinking. It's automatic. We are not thinking, you don't even care about how it is. But again, breathing can be intentional. And when breathing is intentional, that's when you start reaping the benefits of breathing. Today, if we go to any hospital, there are hundreds of people paying to breathe, you know, and somebody, you know, you'd be wondering, why is it that when you get to hospital, the first thing you're given is oxygen? Because oxygen works. It's the fastest it's very fast to work at the cellular level, to be able to help fuel how your body works at the cellular level. So today I want to focus on what we call intentional breathing, because intentional breathing is what you can do to improve your health. Majority of us today, because of using phones, working on computers, and always being like this, we are so shallow breathers. We are very, very, very shallow breathers. Why? Because when we get into this position and to this position, what do? We compress the lungs. So I'll show you. So if we get into this position and then this position, so we're rolling out our shoulders and our neck is bent, and we are bending a little bit from here, and then our spine is straight. Anybody most of the people who have complained of backache and they have done MRIs, their spine is straight, and they are told their spine has spasm, and they're like, how did I get my spine in spasm? And how did I get my spine straight? This is how you did it. You sit, you shorten. Okay, so this is shortened. You work in a computer, this is shortened. You are looking on this on the phone all the time, again shortened. So over time, not 1 year, not 2 years, you'll be walking, but you guys will start noticing when you turn like a tractor. You turn with the whole body. What is the one thing that you notice with those people is when they go to sleep. When they sleep, you may think there's a tractor in the house. That's how most of those people are. They cannot get proper sleep. Why? They're trying to get enough room, first of all, for the food that they ate for dinner, and also get enough room for the lungs, because the lungs needs to pump more oxygen to what? To oxidize and help in the digestion of the food they have eaten. Now, when we get into these postures, and this becomes our lifestyle, the first things that we start getting, and this is our posture, the first things we start getting is anxiety. Okay, you'll start getting anxiety, being short-tempered. You become anxious, short-tempered, you fatigue easily, you get irritant, and you don't associate it with this. This time there's no pain. There's no pain at all. And then this continues. So when you this, are you getting enough oxygen in the lungs? No. Absolutely not. And this continues. Okay. The next thing that you may find the same person will be complaining is, nowadays I'm getting a lot of headaches. I'm getting a lot of headaches. And my headaches are either here, or the back of the head. But you can see this thing, if you put your head like this for a whole day, these muscles here, if they have to work the whole day pulling this neck, supporting this neck like that, what will happen? They will fatigue. And when they fatigue, they will be painful. Why will they fatigue? They fatigue because you're also not giving them enough oxygen. Not only muscles of the neck, I told you the sequence continues all the way down. What else will have a problem? What else will have a problem?
Your lower back.
It's your lower back. So you may start with neck ache every time you're trying to get how to relieve this neck pain, but it doesn't go. You go for a massage, it feels good for a few minutes, and then it's back the same way. Why? Because the massage therapist massaged what? The stretched tissue. So if you massage the stretched tissue, what do? You just overstretch it again. You continue encouraging these guys to continue pulling. And then after this maybe you also maybe are sent to the doctor, and the doctor gives you some painkillers, sent you to a physiotherapist. The physiotherapist tries give you a little bit of an exercise, maybe you come a little bit back, but this is still what? Tight. So what happens? You're still sitting and spending most of the time sitting. What happens to this one? It gets tight. It gets also tight. When this one gets tight, you guys start getting what? Back pain. But before maybe you get back pain, you'll have what? Heel pain. Okay, that is still breathing. We're just looking at breathing. One thing, we look at breathing. So your heel pain will start hurting. In the morning when you wake up, you can't put your foot on the ground, and maybe after you walk for some few minutes, you feel better. That will continue, but then you limp. You limp, you start changing how you walk. What is the next guy that will hurt?
The knee.
The knee will hurt. But now when the knee is hurting, let me show you. When the neck hurts, you go to a doctor and get help. And you feel a little bit better. But then now the back is hurting. You go again to the doctor, you get some help. And then you feel a little bit better. And the knee will shift. But we don't connect how? The headache, the neck pain, the back, and the heel pain, and the knee are all connected through simple breathing. Now, so that's one thing. So all these tightening and shortening has caused a compression that has slowed how our heart, our lung functions. But not only our lung, but also our heart. Our heart, yes. Our heart will have to work extra hard. So if we have to be like this for 10 years, when we go to a cardiologist and he has to take an imaging of our heart, what will show in our heart? An enlarged what? An enlarged heart. So how did I get an enlarged heart? And that is the questions that we'll ask ourselves. But how did you get an enlarged heart? It has gotten because when your body was in this position, your heart has to work harder than before. Your lungs have to work harder than before. Then the next thing that will happen is what? The next thing that will happen is here. You start getting a problem of digestion. You start getting either constipated, because again, when you are all tight and tight, and you don't go to a proper toilet. This is where you go, because you go into this seated. You don't defecate completely, so you start getting what? Constipation. When you get constipation, it can get very crazy. You start getting hemorrhoids, and again, all those will require what? Surgical intervention. And then when you have constipation for a very long time, what will it do? To cause the food to start fermenting, isn't it? When it starts fermenting, it will produce a lot of gas, and that gas will be another thing that will bother us for some time. And then after the gas, or maybe during gas at the same time, you start getting what? Acidity, because it's come a busa. It will boil and boil and start what? And start binding us and start destroying the tissues here. So how can we change this with breathing? I want to show you a simple way of doing breathing. And come back a bit. And the first thing that you need to do is you sit comfortable on your chair. Your feet can be down. I don't know how to put this down, but let's assume that my feet are on the ground. You get yourself off the backrest. You get yourself off the backrest. Okay. And then you put your hands on the side of your chest. Okay? And you sit upright. And so what we're going to do here is take in a deep breath. And then you take out slowly. So, but then I'll guide you how to do it. But this is the position. As you take a deep breath, you need to push your hands outside. So can we do it? Can you do the audience?
Right.
Hands on the side. Make sure you're feeling your ribs. So for these people who are also working in the offices, this is how you do it. One, when you put your hands here, what do you feel? You have to sit upright, right? Okay. That's what is pushing you to do, to push your shoulders upright. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take in a deep breath in as a count of 4. We're going to hold that breath a count of 7. We're going to exhale that breath slowly a count of 8. Okay. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So in, one go, in. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back up in, deep in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Deep in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one. Deep in. 3, 4, 2, 1. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in and out. In again and out. In last one and out. So you want to do this first thing in the morning when you wake up. You want to do this last thing before you go to bed.
Like how many times?
You can repeat this. We have done one set.
Okay.
That is one set of 4 breaths, 4 7 holds, and 8 exhales. But you can repeat it to a maximum of twice. Okay. If you do it many times, you can get dizzy. So you want to repeat it as a maximum of twice. And you do this every day. Number 1, 2, help improve the oxygenation of your body and your brain. The calmness, you can feel that calmness, that relaxation. It's a set of balance, number one. Number two, you do it to improve your immunity. When you do this deep breathing and you enlarge you create enough capacity for your lungs, you definitely help the body remove excess fluids in your body. So you help with the immunity. When you do this, you help reset sleep, which is our next thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if we have time, but of course I'll just get guidance from my director. But right now we'll be taking a very short break. Then maybe we'll be coming back very briefly. That's with sleeping and drinking water. But that has been very enlightening. I don't know whether to say the information is shocking or what exactly. But of course it's quite some good information right there of how just to connect with nature. And as Daktari puts it, of course, health just being free. So we take a very short break. When we come back, we'll just be looking at drinking water and of course sleeping as a way of boosting your health and well-being. So let's take that a very short break. Do not go too far.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on CAC TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader. Are you ready for Israel? PCEA Communication Department is pleased to inform all presbyteries, parishes, churches, congregations and friends of its annual trip to Israel. The trip will take place from the 5th to 14th of November 2023. The trip to Israel through Egypt will include visit sites like the Pyramid, Mara, the Hanging Church, the Burning Bush, Mount Sinai, and then to Israel through the Suez Canal and visit sites like the Dead Sea, Kibbutz, the Manger, the Temptation Mountain, Gethsemane, Old Jerusalem, Caesarea Park, St. Peter's in Galgantu, Emmaus, Capernaum, Jordan River, Galilee, among others. The charges are $2,050 US. You can pay in 4 installments of $513 US. The deadline for payment is the 31st of August 2023. For payment, the
Right, welcome back to today's health conversation. Of course, if you're just joining us, we are looking at how you can improve your health and well-being. We've just looked at how you can do that, of course, by walking barefoot. We've also looked at just the ways you can breathe for you to improve your health and well-being. As mentioned on this second part of the interview, of course, we are just going to look at drinking water and sleeping. How well can you do these two for you to improve your health and well-being? Of course, I'm still with Dr. Ali Hamisi Kote in studio, who is a fascia manipulation teacher. Thank you, first of all, for the first session.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm sure our audience and myself have so many questions, but due to time, let us just look at sleeping or drinking water.
In either. Let's start with sleeping.
All right.
When I think about sleep, I think about a testosterone. today, a lot of men are using sex-enhancing drugs to improve on their performance. And one of the reasons why the sex performance is declining is lack of sleep. A lot of men today are sleeping less than 5 hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours and below. And not only men, but even women. There's a professor who says that if you look at the size of testicles of a man who sleeps 7 hours and the size of testicles of a man who sleeps 4 hours, these ones are like the eggs of a squirrel. No, we call it a quail. We're calling it quail, yes, like an eggs of a quail. And these other ones are, that proper kienyeji egg. That's the difference, and that's what sleep can do. You can see that how big it is. And when we look at research and we look at how sleep is impacting the whole society in general, you realize that, number one, our immunity is highly compromised in the cities compared to in the villages. And why is that? Because in the city we are all chasing time, right? So the amount of time that people are sleeping is very limited. And there was also a research that they had done on air hostesses. And air hostesses, because of being in the air all the time, and even nurses, these night shifts. And the simple conclusion was, when you interrupt your sleep, then it's like a precursor. It's a carcinogen, if you may. It's like it's a silent like agent of causing cancer. So why? Because the human body has what you call natural killer cells. The natural killer cells are immune cells that travels throughout the body when you're dead asleep. And when they travel throughout the body when you're dead asleep, they go, they're like soldiers, looking for where the intruders are. There anybody who is trying to intrude on us and destroying these intruders. That is very, very important, because we also need to look at the same reality in our own military. The Kenyan military does not spend sleeping time in the barracks. Yeah. They train every single day. Why do they do that? They train because you don't know when you can get an invasion. So it's the same thing. Whenever we sleep, then we are able to regrow, to able to strengthen the natural killer cells within our body, so that the natural killer cells in turn can help boost our immunity, help fight invasion of bacteria, viruses, etc., and also cancer causing agents, and help our body heal faster. That's number one. Number two, memory. We have a big decline in memory today. Memory and learning, we have to really think about it. We have a big decline in memory and learning as we're starting to get older, or even as young people now. And the biggest reason, again, is sleep. Why? We need to have, there's something in the brain here called the hippocampus, and we need to think of a hippocampus like a sponge. A sponge that when you put it in water, it does what? It has to assimilate all the water, and then the same sponge, well, it has to be able to do what? To dump, which is to retain in the memory, in the long-term memory. So now, if we are absorbing all this information, but we are not sleeping, then we are not able to do what? We are not able to sip it all in and store it in our long-term memory. And that's why you find long-term lack of sleep. We destroy our hippocampus, and when we destroy this functionality of our body, what happens is that our cognitive function decline. Why? Because we are also not breathing properly. Remember, we are not breathing properly. We are not breathing properly. We are not metabolizing properly. So we are having a lot of issues in our gut that destroy the microbiome of the gut. And we know this is our second brain. If the second brain doesn't work, and the first brain, we are not even giving it enough sleep, can you see how we're getting all destroyed? Yeah. That's how we are getting sick. So my advice for people is, for you to restore sleep, you have to establish, you have to do two things. Number one, you have to establish a routine time to go to sleep. So you need to decide, if you are going to sleep at 9, it has to be you go to sleep at 9 every single day. Monday, Sunday, it doesn't matter the same time of the day. That has to be a routine, so that you can help your body reset the sleeping system. That's number one. Number two, your aim should be to sleep 8 hours. Because if you sleep 8 hours and you're able to get sleep, sound asleep these 8 hours, you'll help your body to restore back that sleep time. And how do you do it? We said you walk barefoot. We have already done some breathing, and now we are trying to see how to sleep. So one of the things is establish a sleeping time. Number two, remove TV from your bedroom.
And phones.
Yes, TV, phone, all those things, remove them from your bedroom. You need to realize that even when you've been sleeping with them, there's nothing big you have invented since you've been sleeping with them. You've only been destroying your health. Yeah. So if you really care about your health, you need to be able to come up and say, you know what, my health will be more important, that I can keep these gadgets off during my sleeping time. So remove the TV from the bedroom and make your bedroom total dark. The curtains have to be total dark, because any amount of light, like if you've seen about blue light and the phone, any amount of light to your eyes, even if you're closing your eyes, it stimulates your brain. Now, so once we do that, and the final thing is, our room needs to be around 18 degrees cold. When you sleep in a very warm place, you can never sleep sound asleep. When you sleep in a slightly cooler, colder room or colder place, you sleep deeper. So what you need to do is either reduce the number of blankets, or if you have an AC, you set it to about 18 degrees. This will help you be able to fall deeper sleep, because when the body is slightly cold, your blood kind of moves back into your core and you're able to fall deeper sleep. So do it to help yourself, boost everything about life, reduce the rates of depression, reduce the rates of anxiety, because you're breathing, you're barefooting, and you're sleeping. And finally, I want to talk about water. The human body is 70%, if you may, water, and this should be very important for all of us. And this connective tissue that we see is also made of collagen, and that collagen, most of it is water. Most of that collagen tissue is water, and this connective tissue is meant to be able to move, to glide smoothly. Why? Because inside all the compartments of the sequences that you're talking about, there is a lubricant. There's a lubricant like an oil that helps lubricate this connective tissue to allow the muscles to move the body the way you'd want to move it in 3 planes of motion. Therefore, whenever we don't drink water, the first thing we do is we get hydration. When we get dehydrated, our body has the chances of getting what? Wrinkled or dense. This suit has the chances of getting densified. And you see, if it gets densified there, that's how you'll be, unless somebody is able to come and release here. If it gets densified here, again, it will cause a problem. So water is so vital, first of all, just to allow this suit to be able to be free to glide and to give us flexibility. Number one. Number two, everything that happens in our body requires water. Digestion, everything requires water. So you can imagine if all of us were able to hydrate our body. We are told to drink 8 glasses, but 8 glasses is just a suggestion. It's just an idea. It's not true. It's not true. I mean, there's no fact, there's no evidence why you should take 8 glasses. But the whole idea is to tell you like you need to drink enough water. So different people will be able to drink different amount of water. But we cannot just say dead on, we just have to drink 8 glasses. There's no science to it. There's nothing to it that is just it's a good idea. So we drink enough water to help the body, first of all, the skin, to reduce the amount of, to help our skin to be slightly better. When our skin is better, we help with thermoregulation. How we are able to perceive changes of temperature, changes of weather in and outside our body. Number one. Number two, we put everything here. Like people are eating a lot of bread, but bread is very dry. When you eat a lot of bread, and you don't drink water, you get constipated. So you can imagine a lot of people who are in the hospital, admitted in hospitals with maybe constipation and a lot of digestive problems, if they were just to help improve with their water intake, maybe we would have a bigger discharge of the number of patients sleeping in the hospital. Why? Because acidity is really need, it's something to do with what not in having with water. We need some water. Gas and bloating, we need some water. Constipation, we need some water. Sleep, we need some water. Everything in us, we need enough water for it to function and to move. Why? Because we need our body to be free and flexible to grind. That's number one. Number two, we use water another way, and the other way that we use water, we use water to shower. We use water to shower, and you want to shower cold shower. Why do you want to shower cold shower? You want to shower cold shower because the idea is not to give your body comfort. You see, the same way the President Ruto will not, as the Commander-in-Chief, will not just give the military comfort in their barracks, that they just stay there, they cannot train, they just wait the day the country will be attacked. No. Every day the various generals will take these guys out for different activities. The same way you need to stretch, to irritate. You need to keep on disturbing your body so that you keep on stimulating your immune function. So if you're showering with cold water, what are you doing? You're gonna be getting all this cold. The body will produce a lot of, will try to produce a lot of heat to try to shed itself, and as a result, stimulate the immune cells. When you stimulate the immune cells, you help boost your immunity, but you also help boost sleep, because again, we said sleep is very, very important. and finally, about water. I normally say, if you're able, if you hike in a place that is high up, that let's say in a natural oasis, it's always good. The best water to be drunk will be that one that comes from the spring, not the bottled water, because for me, I think the bottled water is very dirty.
Okay.
Yes. When I mean, I've seen so many tests. People have done tests for sampling some of the top waters that we buy most expensive, and they're all acidic. They are all acidic because some of them are just done at the back door and and put a label. So if you're able to get, if those people who live in places they can drink natural water from the oil or from the wells, I think that's the best water, because that is the natural water that is able to easily be assimilated. But if we live in the cities as well and we can't get good water, we still have to try and maybe ionize our water, if you may so. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Thank you for informing us on that.
Yes.
Maybe very briefly, just a summary, and as well as your last words to our audience as far as the 4 bits that we've discussed this morning.
So what I would want to say is that we need to understand the importance of the connective tissue, because the connective tissue kind of holds our metabolism, holds our structure, and holds our emotion. So we need to keep our body flexible and moving. We need to utilize things that are free in the environment to heal ourselves. Why? Because Mother Nature is the best doctor. Barefooting is the barefoot doctor's prescription, and you keep it between stretch and relaxation, because pain is not a lifestyle. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, and that is such a great place to end our discussion. You've said pain is not
a lifestyle.
Okay, pain is not a lifestyle. Let me agree with that. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. That was Dr. Hamisi Kote Ali, a facial manipulation teacher, of course, just taking us through different ways that we can improve our health. Of course, we have looked at walking barefoot. We've also looked at the best way, or just how we can breathe to improve our health and well-being, as well as sleeping. And finally, we've looked at drinking water. Of course, according to Dr. Hamisi here, it's not about drinking the 8 glasses of water, but just knowing what exactly is good for your body as far as water is concerned. So thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, we'll meet again next Monday on a different health topic. Of course, the aim is to improve your health and well-being. But before ending our show, let me just appreciate, you said it's facial what?
Fascia.
No, like
this is the fascia.
Tissue.
Tissue, yes.
All right, let me also appreciate him. Of course, he's been standing for too long, so I thank you as well. All right, and thank you, Daktari, for your time as well together with your team. So we end it there, and right, he's a human being, is a person, not necessarily a tissue. All right, so thank you so much for tuning in. See you again next Monday. My name is Aida Munzati. As always, your health matters.